we're not another nice idea. You know, some people who just passionate about young people. And I'm going to start speaking now. Like, this is still in our early phases where we're setting the foundation, and I'm willing to do that myself because I believe I have the authority and the authority literally to do what I'm doing and to speak the way I speak. So I'm not your typical facilitator, and I say that with all due respect. I'm not here to follow protocol. I'm just here to, give you what I think you need to know, and so on and so forth. So, not to sound arrogant, there's no need. Sometimes confidence is not arrogance. It's just perspective. When you stay on top of the mountain, the way you see things doesn't make you proud. It's where you're sitting from. Now, we're going to be um, very clear. We're doing this because we have a talent crisis in the market. As I speak, right, we have one project. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. There are about 4 projects that are live that we don't really have people for. Their consulting projects. They're very, they're there. And we know what we went through with the ones that we just concluded because there was just too much work on a few people. Now, okay, sorry, some people need to mute. I think you need to just mute so some background noises here and there. Anyway, but the idea is I'm not here to promote management consulting as an exclusive career, but I'm going to help some of us appreciate some of the dynamics of these things. And that's why we're having this topic. Now, I was saying something. I said that the gears are going to change. We're going to shift gear. By next webinar, we expect to have rollout. We expect to roll out into our various specific experience, learning and development experiences. So what do I mean? We have a talent crisis. We want people to be upskilled through our webinars and get back to the office on Friday or Monday morning, and their bosses are asking them, where on earth did you go this weekend? We want that level of transformation. Now, I know there is this whole generational issue and so on and so forth, which I'm not going to get into the wars of it, but I'm going to highlight some very important things that we ought to pay attention to. All right, please, I'd like you to, yeah, exactly. I hope you can see my picture pinned. All right, so that you, so that's number one. Yeah.
Mustafa, could you hold on? I think you're muted.
Okay, I'm unmuted now. All right, thank you. So I was saying that where we're headed, ladies and gentlemen, and please you can invite your friends, is that we want this place to be a practical career room where people get jobs. We have openings. We have a lot of executive assistant openings. We have, I think, business analysts and so on and so forth. People to get hired, people to get, we call it learn and work opportunities. Please, I'm telling you the benefits of being in this community. Learn and work opportunities. Let me tell you what learn and work opportunities are. Now, when people want to move or change careers, you know what they start to do? They start to take certifications, they start to take trainings, which is fine. And I respect those things. But what they don't, or they go and do some extra degree or something. Or even if they don't know, they just go and sign up to one MSc somewhere that has no bearing with their career path. But one of the things they don't get to understand or realize is that, you know what, I can actually work, gain experience, and shift careers. So what do I mean? Kryptr would at some point begin to provide opportunities for the exceptional people in the house to take up, I call it moonlighting. I think it's moonlighting. I beg your pardon, moonlighting projects. So instead of you burning the midnight candle, doing some random online program, you're burning the midnight candle to actually work on a real project with a real client that you probably will see as a celebrity on TV. And you may not show up in meetings. You're at the back end. They give you your work. You do it. You finish. You deliver your work. And you add it to your CV that you actually did the work. So when you sit down in an interview and they ask you questions, you respond. The Japa syndrome has decimated Nigeria's career market, that finding talent now is becoming ridiculous. We're doing Kryptr. Let me say this very strong. We're doing Kryptr not because we want to be rich. We started out doing Kryptr because we're frustrated. We were frustrated because we realized that our clients were frustrated. They don't have people to hire. I keep saying these things and people just look at me like, where are you from? It's the reality. So it's not as if there aren't good people or smart people, but they're just not right. They just can't get it. I got off the call with one of Nigeria's, I won't say Nigeria's, but a very prolific recruiter. He's prolific because he's been doing it for about 10 years and I've known him personally. And I just told him, hey, I need a HR manager, which is one of the most difficult roles to fill. Hard. And every time I have to fill it, I do it with a lot of resentment. You heard me, I'm being honest. Like I don't enjoy the process. Not that I have to be the one, I don't feel like I recommend. I connect people. I've left that business now. Kryptr is trying to reinvent that though. And I'm being open here. I want to just share with you. It's very hard. And every time I say it in public places where HR professionals, they just get this Pharisee, Sadducee type arrogance. And I'm just looking at them like, let's not go there. And I like to throw it out, not to start fight or not to become controversial. I'm not a controversial person, and I don't want to be, right? But just to let them know that it's not as they're very, very they're not self-aware. And they think HR is administrator. Oh, and all the pillars, leave days, okay, calculate pension. Hello, somebody's mic is on. Okay, so I think Wally's mic is on. I'm mute him. All right. So I was saying that, there is this Pharisee, Sadducee type. What do you mean? I mean, HR everywhere. Wherever I say, story. So I'm throwing a challenge now. I have 2 companies that need HR managers. Now, I understand the way the world has moved. I understand employers are a bit unpredictable. Employers are difficult to deal with. They say companies, one-man companies. Well, even the big boys are one man when you really, really dig into it. It's just a few that are not one man. And those non-one men, their bureaucracy and politics will just kill you. So you choose your battles, right? You could just go there and make a lot of money, but really you're just passing time. And it's fine. And I'm not really going into that conversation now. But where I'm going is, it's hard. So I asked him how far now. So he started telling me stories, I was just tired. And I'm tired because my clients need these people. We have head of finance for another company. Looking, what is the problem? Let me tell you the problem. I've started my lecture. They do not have consulting experience. Go and write it down. When I sit down and I talk with authority, I'm not a portfolio consultant. There are very few people you will call in this country or companies you will call in this country that matter. Well, there are a couple actually that we've not had anything to do with directly or indirectly. Okay, well, let me not say company, let me say industry. We've advised over 150 companies and we're still counting. Do you understand? I still receive calls from very important people every day, from the ones that want to cry to the ones that are frustrated. These are people you see and respect. We're dealing with their issues. Not that that's what consultants deal with. And the place we played over the period of time has given us that latitude and privilege. Now, I'm not here to come and expose anyone or to make you. I'm just trying to explain to you that employers they have a lot of employers, God forbid, not a lot, but some employers, God forbid, are going to die because of frustration. Frustration, not die like hard blood, they're called what are those diseases? They're called high blood pressure, uh, chronic diseases because of these issues. They can't delegate. Look at executive assistants. Executive assistant, we can ask EB, we get that request almost every day. And I'm looking at young people. One of the best career paths to start with is to be an executive assistant. Say, what do you mean? An executive assistant, right, is directly connected to the CEO. It's like you know how your baby is connected through the umbilical cord to the mother. And everything the CEO is, the person can collect. Some people would feel like it's better to go and spend 2 million naira or 1 million naira. Okay, let's say it's a cheap one, not the expensive foreign ones. This is not even expensive. To go and plug their pipe to a university that has no international ranking, right? And collect a degree that they'll come back and still come and join the workforce. versus sitting down with an executive who has maybe 20 something years experience, who knows his onions, who will indirectly be your private coach. Private coach. Especially if you have a great attitude and just be pumping stuff into you. And then you are sitting there, just so in other words, after like 3-4 years, you'll either be able to do almost everything you can do or be so good that your next employment is. Do you understand? But this wisdom is not common. And this is what we're trying to do at Kryptr. Like, we didn't say establish Kryptr because we wanted to make money. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not where well, we will make money eventually because we're a startup now. But honestly, my investor that gave us money, $30,000, one of our investors, one of our angel investors said, this thing you're doing is charity. He couldn't explain what it would take to train people. He didn't want to bother. He just said, Oga, this is charity. Because he understands the frustration of training. So we felt like, you know what, EABA, let's have these webinars. So we begin to reorientate people and show them that, guys, there are opportunities. So Kryptr's, and I'm talking about the agenda. And listen, guys, these webinars are here to stay. By the way, just, I mean, every time, when it's me, and I say with all sense of humility, when it's me, we don't need a script, right? Because I still have at least 15 years worth of information to download. I can take one issue and I can speak for it for a whole year. 52 Thursdays, one issue. And I think I have at least 30 issues I can cover. I can take critical thinking. I can take management. I can take middle management. I can take problem solving. I can take financials. I can take strategy. I can go on and on. Not to impress you. Don't worry. It's Elon Musk I want to impress. So I've told you this is not my, I mean, little kids, I'm going to impress you. No, I just want to help you. I want to help my clients. I want you guys to wake up to the reality of the opportunities. All right. So here comes my clients, and they're still begging. They want talent. Now, here is the issue, and here is the catch. You need experience to get a job. Employers want experienced people. But how do you get experience without the job? That's where Kryptr is. That's what Kryptr is trying to solve. So stick around for these webinars. We're definitely going to start rolling them out. Like, we want to start going functional now. So some of you have to have, your workbooks, your materials. It's going to be like real school. They say, are you paying for it? Well, I'm stuttering. No, not yet. Right? You will have to pay something some point. But we're not in a hurry to sell you anything without value. You yourself, at some point, I mean, if you go listen to a nice sermon and you pay your tithe, I'm sure this would be nothing compared to, I mean, that's just on a lighter note, nothing compared to what you benefit here. But hear me tell you what the opportunities are. We have executive assistant roles. We want to roll those out like quickly. How many people now? Don't be too quick because as executive assistant is the most powerful role, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it's true. But it's not an easy role. Depending on who your boss is, you're going to you're going to have a tough time. It's very difficult to deal with executives. Executives are like nuclear plants. What's a nuclear plant? A nuclear plant generates so much energy, it can power a city. But a nuclear plant is also very radioactive. It can obliterate. So if you're not on top of your game, your boss can obliterate you with the demands. But here is now the other part. Young people seem to miss the boss and feel like, I mean, when I hear young people talk about work-life balance, with all due respect, I'm just like, this one, I mean, no disrespect, but hey, I mean, you're 25, you're 24, 25. I mean, what are you talking about? Like, can you just carry the yoke while you're young so that when you look at your mates abroad that have done it. Mark Zuckerberg was already on Facebook at 23. Look at the guy now buying his wife Porsche and doing remodeling Porsche. Everybody's making noise. But hello, can you do what he did? I'm not even saying you should become Mark Zuckerberg, but the one you want to do in your industry. And there is this deception, and there's this, daylight robbery of opportunity and identity among young people that they're failing to realize that they're supposed to be superstars in their 20s. That's the time they have to make all their mistakes, do all their experiments, and boom, become. Okay? Like, have fun, work, and deliver results. Be part of visions, concepts, ideas that are bigger than themselves. So to begin to tie up my introduction, yes, you heard me right. To begin to tie up my introduction, Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome you to a new dispensation. We're not here to just come and bamboozle you. I'm not also here to just come and impress you. Are you following what I'm saying? Even though I have a unique ability to communicate what you need to know. And that's why I'm being used at the moment. But other facilities are lining up and gearing up to begin to take specific functional areas that will benefit you. And like I said, we want you to come to Kryptr's webinar on Thursday. And on Friday or Monday, your boss is asking you, where were you this weekend? Until we start getting such testimonies, we're not where we want to be. So what we're doing is with the mindset, and I'm trying to first expose you to the reality so that you know this is not another nice idea by some guys that have their private businesses and are running this on the side. You know, we have a lot of all these side ideas, side business. Oh, I am into young people. I have a calling to help them figure out their career. Please, 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 please. I'm not even interested. That's not my calling. If you want to know what my poverty is, what is it, my poverty? Things that will make me poor. Those are the kind, I mean, listen, I know how to give to charity. That's not my problem. I'm here because this is what we do from 9 to 5. My colleagues on the call are sleeping, waking up, thinking how to make you a superstar and present you to an employer. That's what Kryptr is about. How to make these guys that are frustrated and looking for middle managers, get these guys overnight. That's what we're trying to solve. Full stop. This idea was not born out of an opportunity to make money. It was born out of a frustration to fill roles. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening. Today we'll be talking about career secrets of management consulting. Now, there's a lot to say here, but we'll give you a teaser. Then we'll now release our timetable by early next week. And then you can see the timetable of our webinars and what we'll be doing. Of course, if you join the Kryptr community, we have different WhatsApp groups for different categories of people: students, youth coppers, people looking for jobs, just between youth serving and between youth service and their first job or another job. And then those who are currently, who want to pivot, they have careers, but they want to shift. And then those finally who are working, they're okay, but they want to excel and they want to be on the fast track. Those are the groups of people. When I started my career in 2008, I was privileged. And I honestly want to say this, that the best gift that God gave me in my life while I was waiting was He threw me into consulting. I had another opportunity to do banking. And I every day thank God that did not happen. Are we together? Okay. Please remind me, B. I sent your message. Thank you. That did not happen. And I don't want to get into my long story. You can check it out on Origin. Check out the podcast, Origin Africa, or is it Origin? You see my story. I shared my story and my journey. But I was privileged to start consulting. How did my consulting career start? Let me tell you quickly so that I can, because a lot of people are fascinated with consulting and they see consulting as the next, I don't want to use that word, but the next fancy career, consulting, investment banking, and the way they throw words. You see, my problem with the people on this side of the country is that some of us are pursuing career options because of the way they sound and the way people feel about you than what they actually represent. I just told you now that there are a ton of career options that will pay you better, like executive assistant, than a lot of things people are chasing up and down. In fact, you may be lucky, you start traveling with your boss, business class. You go for dinners, you meet people, you build your relationships, you have your connections. When you now start your business, it is the relationship you have built. Oh, have you left him? Yes, but we're still in good terms. Okay, come and help me do this. Like, it's just a no-brainer. Not even talking about the skills and the coaching you receive from him and how to learn. You watch by, like, you're a disciple of that person. You have a chance to be 2-3 times as good as that person. Exceptional opportunity, but mismatch. So there are a lot of people running around looking for fancy titles and roles. Oh, I made this, I made that. Now, I don't want to talk about the effect of the fad, the fad meaning the whole buzz, which would typically relate, which is that, okay, so let me give you an example. Let's say, oh, tech is hot. Tech is hot. Oh, okay, tech is hot. Everybody now rushes into tech. Just like ICANN was hot once, and everybody rushed in now. I mean, no disrespect to accountants. Okay, they all rush in. At some point, we'll be pricing product managers like, I mean, okay, if you don't collect 200K, I'm sorry, I have someone else who can do it. That's what you guys don't realize. Some of you are not paying attention to the fact that it's going to be democratized. Now, with all these learning platforms, it will keep crashing. Let's not even add AI. So we're still going to come back to a point where, now I know of course, what is important is people's attitudes. So people are going to be distinguished or differentiated by their attitude. So we may have 15 project managers or product managers, but the one that we may end up going for is the one that has the one that gives me less headache and the one that I love to always work with. Those are the kinds of things that will start to set you apart. But back to my story. So I started my career in management consulting, and I was privileged to. Now it was 2008. It was a global financial crisis, 7, 8. So a lot of the consultants in the big four, McKinsey, Bain, Booz, BCG, and some investment banks, Citibank, Goldman Sachs, they were what they call followed. Now followed is like, you know what, we're not going to pay you. Just, hey, but we're also not firing you. So just chill. That kind of thing. So they were followed. And Nigeria, they, that's the West had sneezed, but Nigeria had not caught a cold yet, or Africa had not caught the cold yet. So Nigeria's economy was just taking off. Banking was buzzing. So a lot of banks were doing strategy and so on. And then boom, they came back to Nigeria. So some of them were re-invited to Nigeria. And then the person I was privileged to work under, because of his relationship management skills, was able to attract some of them. And they formed joint ventures or partnerships where they were executing projects. Imagine a young copper that finished from, so imagine a copper that came to Lagos, that finished from University of Abuja with a tutu, that the only thing he used the laptop for was to watch movies, even though he had one, because his brother bought it for him. He didn't even type his project with his laptop. I mean, then laptop just started coming out. So if you had a laptop, you're a big boy. Like it was a status thing. I didn't have a laptop. So you came to Lagos and they opened Excel and say, hey, this is Excel. This is PowerPoint. Okay. Oh, and this is Word. Oh, I see. That's me. Me. That was my first experience. And then you're sitting on the table and then you have these two guys. Some of you even know them. I can't mention their names on the call. You know them like if I call their names, Google them. Ex-McKinsey, ex-Citi, ex-Goldman. And they're on the table with you. That was how I cut my teeth. So I was extremely privileged. I call it a privilege. Now, the circumstances under which I got to that job, you can attribute everything to my attitude. Listen, in terms of qualification, Shabi McKinsey is hiring now. I mean, they hire often. Some of you know how difficult it is to get into the big four. Me, I didn't go through them, but I sat on the table with people that mattered that worked there. And the only reason was timing and the attitude. Attitude meaning, listen, I'm here to learn. Please, what did you say you want to pay me? Forget about money. I'm not interested in money. My parents, my siblings will support me. What I need now is not even transport money. Of course, they gave us a stipend, but the focus was to learn. Now, I did not even know the value until a little into the period that I realized that, wait, this thing is different too. It's more sophisticated than almost any other thing I see out there. Ladies and gentlemen, when people are hiring, there's this thing that managers ask for. They will say it quietly. They don't mention it. If he has consulting background, if she has consulting background, that is what I want. HR, finance, you can't even have strategy without. Well, you can, but to be a joke, I've told you respect. I mean, you must be really exceptional to do strategy without consulting experience. You say you're head of strategy and you didn't do consulting. Well, I want to meet you. And it's possible. I'm sure they exist. They are always exceptional people. And that's what Kryptr is also about. But anyway, the opportunity came and then one was able to start that career path. So when I started my journey, the skill sets were sophisticated. The experience was not ordinary. So I was lucky to be doing stuff with the big boys, like the big, big boys. Now I was, and I'm going somewhere. I want to show you. I want to start my lecture and I want to show you something. Okay. All right. I believe you're following me and we're communicating. So, all right. So look at this. You see these concepts on the right. Some of you are familiar with them. SWOT, PEST, value chain, 4Ps, POET framework, product lifecycle, 9-box matrix, McKinsey 7S. These were things that one got exposed to very early in consulting. Now, why do people want consultants? Because I want to teach some things. We talked about career cycles of management consulting, and I want to tie it up. Why do people want consultants? Well, consultants are sophisticated because of their ability to think. Are we together? I'm sure we are. They're sophisticated because of their ability to think, an ability to document, secondly, but more importantly, their understanding of how things should be executed. Okay, please follow me. So now, if you're on the call, there's a high probability that you don't. I don't think there's any consultant apart from the Kryptr team members. I would doubt. Maybe there is one or two, but you probably are not from a big four or from an Enzo Krypton. I mean, with all due respect, you may. I mean, apart from the Enzo Krypton team, but I'm just saying that you probably, if maybe it's a small boutique, because the problem we have with consulting again is we have a lot of people that have joined that are like calling it consulting, and in my mind I'm like, with all the leadership training and soft skills, that's not consulting. Please, and no disrespect to those people. It's not. Oh, we're management. Please, Oga, madam, Ejo. Specific functional narrow areas is not also consulting is, and I'll show you what consulting is. Because I want to make this. I know I teach very practically, and let's not beat around the bush. Let's get to it. I would just go ahead and present my screen again and show you what consulting is. I'll just do the two. I want to show you something. I'll just show you two of the websites, and then we'll talk about it. Now, there's professional services. It's broad. It has everything in there: account, tax, audit, assurance, and so on and so forth. But when we say management consulting, we're talking about, you remember your management sciences. Please remember your management sciences. Okay, there's one more I need to show you. Your management sciences. I'm sure you understand. So finance, accounting, um, you know, those courses essentially, all right? This is where we came from. So let me just show you what consulting is. So come to this, you go to our work, going somewhere, and then you go to, of course, this is, it's very sophisticated, but here we go. Oil and gas, financial services, digital, quantum black. These have all changed. When I started my career, it was, I could count. I remember coming to these websites every day in the morning just to see what was new. So aerospace and defense, agriculture. These are all these. Now imagine after 5 years, you have walked in two or three or four of these places. When you sit in a room, your perspective cannot be compared with somebody who started out in a narrow space. We started advocating for generalists and we started talking about the value of being generalists. And, there's some things that we know and we understand that is, it's very frustrating to explain to people. How can you just, and that's one thing you have to really, for those of you who are very prayerful, that's one thing you have to guard against is the spirit of error. Spirit of error is you take on a wrong career path from day one. So now it's not a principle, but honestly, you can't beat it. There's something I cannot say because I will be trading secrets to say it. But you can't leave consulting and your income or whatever does not reflect it. It's not possible. It cannot. In fact, there's a particular consulting firm they call the CEO factory. Is even I want to use the CEO factory. All right. I'm going somewhere and I'm explaining. So this consulting is two things. It's industries, number one, which I've showed you. Look at them. This is really expanded. And there are people, while they have specialists in some of these industries, most times when they start out as analysts or whatever they are called at that level, junior consultant, whatever, they get to do multiple. So you are spending 6 months with an automotive and assembly plant. And you've spent 6 months. When you finish it, you move to another one. And then from there you move to another one. Then there you move to another one. Crazy stuff. They've changed their strategy. What they do is they give you the industry and then they tell you what they're doing. When I used to go to their websites, what they will show you is the industry and then they show you what they call functional areas, two different things. Okay. But let's just take it that how we help our clients. This is what they say they do. So the mobility finance, for instance, I don't want to tell you what it is, but it is financing, you know, financing mobility. I mean, whether it's Uber or whatever, or e-vehicles and all. So business build and scale, M&A integration and due diligence. That this is the service offering. So when you get into an office and they say, what can you do? It's like, or what experience do you have as a market entry experience? Let me give you this one. Just 2 days ago, when I call with someone from Switzerland, I mean, okay, those are the guys that financial, these are the guys that built competence in, I mean, they keep the world's one of the safest countries in the world, but they also keep the wealth of nations, wealth of wealthy individuals. Let's not get into the controversies but that's not my business on this call. But hey, I'm still here. Slides are boring, and I'll project my screen again. And it's distracting. Change the next slide. I don't want to do that. I just want to open my system. Of course, these are still the preliminary days. We're migrating to our full hands-on, and we're building momentum. That's why we you guys come in every Thursday, and of course we skip last Thursday, but get our curriculum going and all that. But where I'm going is that they wanted market entry. Now I don't want to get into of course, I cannot disclose the confidential details of that engagement. But what am I highlighting? I am emphasizing the way it works. In the way it works in management consulting. All right. Now, I will be projecting my screen again. Just give me a second. Sorry about that. Just 30 seconds. Okay. So let me just put my thoughts before the thing comes back on. So I was saying that two things you need to note. There's industry experience, and then there is now functional expertise. This thing I'm teaching you is game changing. What is functional expertise? Functional expertise is marketing and comms, corporate finance, technology, digital, at at a high level of abstraction. And I'll explain what that means, which is I'll tell you what you're going to hear me say a lot of things about level of abstraction. So I need to quickly introduce that concept to you very quickly so that you understand what we're saying. All right. And we stop at 6:30. So I'm going to start tying my points. And it's deliberate to leave you hungry so you come back again next week. Anyway, that's jokes aside. But here's the point. Functional areas are the roles. But here is the thing. There are operational roles and there are strategic roles. So when you see HR, you hear things like, I'm looking for HR manager that is strategic. I'm looking for a head of finance that is strategic. I'm looking for what other role? Corporate comms that is strategic. Most times, what they have is operational. So having a consulting background will avail you the opportunity to understand strategy or strategic thinking. What is strategic thinking? Strategic thinking or strategic planning is this is where we are, this is where we want to get to, this is how we get there. Full stop. Let me repeat myself. Strategy is current state, future state, journey between current state and future state. So when you get into organization as an HR manager and you get in there and they tell you, oh, we have a high churn rate. We're being plundered by competition, or all the issues that people deal with. Most people who don't have consulting backgrounds are unable to specifically articulate a recommendation that is data driven of what should be done. So when I started talking about it, if you see my logic, on the left, we have what we call the context, the sectors and industries, which I just showed you, aerospace, all those things I listed. Then we have companies and organizations. That's just there for the making. Companies operate in sectors and industries. By the way, there's a difference between sectors and industries. Some of you don't know. Let me just tell you the difference. Well, maybe you should stick around for more Kryptr episodes to learn that. Let me not say it. But anyway, Companies, organizations, or institutions. You cannot describe a public sector institution as a company. It's mostly an institution. So there are even the choice of vocabulary that is appropriate for describing certain things. Then we have what we call functional roles that translate to job descriptions. All right, that's the chain: sector, organization, functional area. So a consultant like me who has breadth is like span of experience. I've worked in I've done a Greek education, fintech, financial services, telecom, banking. Like there's a bit of bandwidth. And some of these industries I spent 3-4 months. I remember my banking days of experience. I can't still forget, retail, individual or slash retail banking, commercial banking, public sector, corporate banking. There's no between corporate banking and public sector. Public sector is government. Corporate banking is Dangote and Co. Then there's MSME banking, which is commercial. Up and rising. MSME, small, micro, medium. And then we now have individual banking and there's business. But these are all the things we learned, but we're immersed in. So even when I sit in rooms now, they're talking, I can communicate, I can understand. That's the breadth that I benefited. Anyway, requirements: knowledge, skill, and work ethic. Those are the requirements. I told you that work ethic got me through the door. And then knowledge and skill, which you continue to learn on Kryptr. But here's the third one: the thinking, the documentation, and the execution. I repeat, the thinking, the documentation, and the execution. Okay, I will need to show you the thinking in a snap. I'm going somewhere. I'm dancing around a few things, but there's a destination I'm going to. All right, please follow me. I'm still talking about consulting secrets. So are you here or got to come and hype consulting? No, I'm here that at the end of this lecture, you will begin to think like a consultant in your business. But don't worry, Kryptr will take care of that journey for you. But more importantly, I wanted you to come out of your pigeonhole. I want you to come out of your silo, your narrow, very focused view, and come up hither, higher to a point where you can see the broad understanding of value adding and problem solving. For value adding and problem solving. Okay? So here is an example of thinking. This one, some of you know me with this. Look at everything here. This is how people interpret information. There's nothing wrong. Everything here is facts. Everything on this sheet are facts. These things exist, they're real. But look at this. The same information, look at how we represented it. This is what makes us walk into organizations, meet people who are veterans, collect multiples of their salaries in 3-4 months, and leave the place. And people are like, thank you very much. And they give you money. Like, what do these consultants? Now, we're not, of course, when we did consulting, we're not like, I told you, leadership training, development, those are not consulting. We told you, they are consulting in themselves, but they're not management consulting. So when you say who's a management consultant is someone that has the ability to define your current state, help you articulate a perfect future state based on your realities, external and internal, and give you a roadmap to take you from that current state to that future state. That's a management consultant. Very few people can do that in this country. And if you have people that can do that, we want to partner with them. We have a lot of work that we can give them to do. No jokes apart. When I throw these threats or whatever they are called, I mean them literally. So look at this structure. Same information. I'm not going to teach much until you sign up on Kryptr or Elite. This is it. Now imagine if these were recommendations. If these were recommendations for a merger and acquisition. So we're going to conduct a merger and acquisition. My company wants to buy another company. Or my company is buying, and then I was drafted in the team to support as the junior analyst. It's not to be buying them Google and Ekpa, or to go and be running around and buying lunch for them. That's not your job. Your job is you bring this kind of thinking. And if they don't think in because they don't have consulting background, you tell them that, okay, what are the aspects or the areas of focus for this M&E? So number one, there is the number one, technology. We have to merge technology. Number two, employees. That's where problems start. Who is going, who is staying, who is duplicating. Number three, branches, operations, footprint. I can go on. So you're showing them how to arrange the classifications. But what is on top? Successful M&E. That's inanimate things. Level one. So that's the highest level of abstraction, where you're able to articulate the exact problem and what needs to be done. Now, I presented this, showing you a simple example. I'm not going to go deep. This is not, of course, not a 1 hour. I'm not even for a webinar yet, even though we're going to get deep in the course of the webinar. But it is the idea is that I want to show you what we mean by the thinking and how points are arranged. So for all you care, we could push out a 100-page document, 150-page document, charge what? $10,000, $15,000, $20,000, 20, 30 million, 40 million, 50 million. But at the end of the day, it is the thinking. This furniture alone, on that desk can be like 15 pages, just analyzing it and taking it from level to level. One other quick example, and I'll show you, then I'll now start tying my points. I hope you're learning something today, or I believe you're learning something today. Just exposing you to what to expect. Now, everything I demonstrated on that slide had to do with what we call logic. What is logic? Logic is the fundamental understanding that is attached to a set of things that defines the outcome or the purpose of those things. So what do you mean? Look at this. Deductive, chronological, structural, comparatively. Now, these are the known ones that we have that we usually use in writing. That when you're presenting information, is either deductive, structural, deductive, chronicle, structural, comparatively. When I presented that organogram of inanimate things, what logic did I follow to present it? I presented structural. So structural is showing the relationship between different set of things and the subsets or the things that make up that set. So I will give you an example. Federal government, state government, local government, that's structural. Altogether, they are government, but different levels of government. Executive, legislative, judiciary. They are called arms of government. But structurally together, they all form government. Under what logic? Under the logic defined as arms of government, sorry, ARMS. There is tiers of government. The tiers of government is federal, state, and local. Federal being the highest authority because they control the military, LOL, right? And then we have states. States represent where your real change can happen, by the way, if you need to know that. It's not really federal, it's the state. And then, of course, local, which is where we should even take it to the next level. But anyway, I'll just give you one example very quickly. Look at this, deductive reasoning. APC governors have a track record for excellent governance and get re-elected. Major premise. Minor premise, Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu is an APC governor. Conclusion, Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu will be re-elected. Deductive reasoning. How would you apply this thinking? Your company is considering moving to a new factory, and you guys are trying to justify the case for moving to that new factory. And for some reason, you're in the meeting, and you want to convince them that moving to the one in this location makes sense. And you use this kind of deductive reasoning. You set a major premise. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I told you these are teasers, and it's deliberate. It's to get you hungry for more and get you to continue on the Kryptr journey, even though it is actually important because we're also trying to upskill people for the opportunities that are out there. Then you now set a minor premise. For those of you who read, not psychology, the one that sociology, Karl Marx, those ones that they, all men are mortal, Karl Marx, some of you might have seen this, it's called deductive. That's what we have seen. It's like, now you don't know the meaning. There's inductive reasoning. Inductive reasoning is different. In fact, that one is even more structural, but let me not digress. But deductive essentially is that you're trying to make a conclusion and you're trying to set an argument. It's very good for debates and it's also very good for business cases. So when they say, write me a business case, someone will be like, hey, this is the thing that my guy is always saying. That now I went to go and hire a consultant over my head, paid him my salary times 2. Yes, that's what I'm talking about. No disrespect to you, by the way. Here's another one. Now, there's a lot of information you don't need. Now, these ones did what I was looking for. We have industries. Look at the industries listed here. they have services. Services are the functional areas, right? No, well, not services. No, not functional area. Like, it's a bit broad, but let's just click on this. So we can go down to look at this management consulting. Let's click that. Yeah, that's it. Strategy and customer solution, people and change, blah, 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 and some other interesting things that they have. You can see their list of things. But these are functional expertise. All right. Now let's come to ours because I cannot but come here. This is us, services. So we have, okay. So for our services, consulting, corporate, human, marketing and sales, digital, financial advisory, there's read more, and then human capital. That's how we arrange ours. Business process institutionalization, documentation services, and so on and so forth. What am I trying to hammer on because of time? I'm emphasizing that the way you see your task, and these are the secrets for management consulting, is that I'm not here to run routine. What are operational responsibilities? Well, we posted, we did all our, okay, I'm talking to an accountant now, a finance person. Not finance, there's a difference. Finance is like doctor, accountant is like, I don't want to say the career, but you know what I mean. It's not a doctor, it's not a surgeon. Finance people are the surgeons, and I don't want to get into how that happens. But anyway, here's the thing. All we do is we post, we prepare and post on, and then we prepare management accounts. That is just show the P&L, the cash flow, and present it to our bosses in Excel or whatever. And you just send it across. No insights, no depth, no understanding. How do you come to Kryptr and begin to learn these skill sets and go back and say, hey, what is the priority of my organization? Which is future state. Where are we now? How can I make clear recommendations on what needs to be done to move them from point A to point B? So what is the secret, or what is the secret of consultants? Or what exactly is the secret when we say career secrets for management consultants? Ladies and gentlemen, I bring you back to my slides, to my box here. I call them the 3 threes. The secret lies here. Number one, to my left, is the broad experience working across sectors and industries. It does something. I can't even go over it. Two, the breadth of organizations you have to work with, seeing different levels of problems to solve. Three, the breadth of functional experience. So today we're working on digital transformation for this organization. Tomorrow we're working on merger and acquisition for this bank. Next, dude, after 2 years, you will be qualified to be a manager. You heard me. In some organizations. Yes, just after 2 years. It's that bad. You heard me. And I'm not talking story, I'm talking reality. Requirements, knowledge, skill, and work ethic. The knowledge one, you know a lot. You also be very competent around articulating problems, because articulating problems is also important. I mean, I wish I could teach you that on this call, but I can't. Time. The last one is work ethic. Consultants have a very unique work ethic. They have reference for the work they do. See, when you walk into a to a to a to a to a religious to a monastery, or what do they call those? When you walk into a place where religion is being practiced, there is a disposition you would have to work. A consultant is, there are certain things we take for granted that in management consulting you are taught. I mean, one of my investors who was in one of the big four told me that they taught him how to staple. Let me say it again. They taught him how to staple. Stapler. They said there is a way to staple a document. That when you take a document, you don't just staple anywhere. You staple the edges in a way that if the document is being opened, the person opening has a better user experience. There's a science to stapling documents. Let's not talk about consistency in fonts. That's not a work ethic issue, by the way. I shouldn't say that. But there is a reverence for timelines. There's a sensitivity to client feedback, which is in this case your own customers, which is your bosses, your line managers. There is that respect for the work. That's work ethic. However, the most distinct thing consultants are known for is the thinking, the documentation. The documentation is the killer. That's where we make a lot of our money. Now they've accused consultants. Oh, you look at your time, you tell them, you look at the watch and you tell, that's rubbish. Absolutely. Then you might as well have, why did you call us? Of course, that's me being emotional just to make you laugh. Calm down. But documentation is where we win. I just showed you how to arrange the inanimate things that I presented. Can you beat that? Imagine that in explaining Nigeria's problems. Imagine that in transforming education. Imagine that in helping a non-profit determine the impact that they made after $1 million in investments. It's the ability to organize the thinking and to present the objectives, outcomes, and impact. Then execution. Now, execution is not what all consultants do. I would agree that people in industry execute better. But the issue with execution is that, and this is my last point, execution is a function of the thinking. So what do you mean? The CEO of MTN is paid almost 1,000 times more than the guy that has to climb the masts to ensure that you and I have network. Why? Because he's paid for the quality of his thinking. If the thinking is clear, it determines what should be executed, i.e., what should be prioritized. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope I've been able to share some career secrets. I said a couple of things and I exposed you to them. So someone's asking, so Emmanuel, what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to get off and start running and become a consultant? No, just stick around in our community, sign up to Elite, and start your journey. Kryptr is trying to democratize. By the way, I hope I didn't sound like multi-level marketing. After you dribbled us, you now want to come and sell something. No, 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 that's not my objective. LOL. I'm sure you saw value. I'm sure you learned something. So don't worry. I mean, those ones, they may not even teach you anything. They may have taught you something. But where we are going is that we know it's a journey. And we realize that not everybody can work in a consulting firm. So we decided that, you know what, take those consulting competencies and ability and democratize it through Elite X, our retail product, and Kryptr community. So that when I bring someone tomorrow, or when we bring a facility to come and teach market and industry assessment, say, what is that? Or to come and explain SWOT and the metrics around it, or to come and explain POET framework or McKinsey's 7S's for those who are in operations or production, then you begin to understand what we're talking about. So it's a journey because we're in recovery mode. We're trying to salvage an entire generation so that employers are not frustrated, so that employers can get value. Because what is going on now is that young children, young people, babies are asked to head organizations. Thank you for listening.